Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where we read surprisingly interesting stories that usually don't end in a cliffhanger. If you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right in. And the first one is titled, "Coworker attempted to film female coworker in restroom at party. Last night I went to a house party with the crew that I work with. We are in the US Navy, stationed in SC. I recently came back to crew after a few months away in a different department at the command we are all attached to. The party was attended by about 12 men and 1 woman, ages ranging from low 20s to upwards of 32, myself. We played beer pong and pool. She eventually left a few hours into the party after she left. The host, who I do not know very well because he recently reported to the command, started talking about how much he wants to F her. That is fine, and I don't judge him for wanting to get laid. The problem is that a few minutes later he checks his phone and is pissed that the camera he had set up in the restroom was turned around. Apparently he had set it up in there in hopes to get a video of her with her pants down. One other party goer, a friend I've known for several years, had seen it and turned it around so it would not face him. It was just chance that he saw it first before our female coworker used the restroom. The host is pissed that his plan failed. At this point, I'm kicking myself for not saying anything at the time. I personally think it's sick and twisted for him to do this. All other guys acted neutral. They neither egged him on nor voiced their disapproval. I left soon after this occurred. The entire day I've been racked with indecision. I don't know the best way to proceed. The way I see it, my choices are: first, do nothing, unacceptable in my opinion, he's bound to do this again. Second, tell the victim directly, this warns her of his nature and she can file a report if she chooses to. Next, you can make an anonymous tip or file a formal report. I know that anything I do will probably affect me in some way. There were only so many people at the party, I'm relatively new and don't know most of them very well. That is not to say it will stop me from doing the right thing. I don't want her to get hurt and I don't want him to continue his sick practices. I fully realize that I and many others at the party were likely victims of voyeurism, which is sexual assault, I guess, as well. I know I went to the restroom before my friend did, so I most likely was picked up on video. That is a path possibly worth pursuing, but I am more concerned about the female coworker. Update: I called the SARC for the base. She said the best avenue would be to contact the command, who would then contact NCIS, or to contact NCIS directly. She said to do either in the morning. I'm going to contact NCIS directly and go from there. Thanks for the responses. If for no other reason than if you do not and someone else does, you will be held accountable under the UCMJ. Go to your command, your chief, your CMEO or your SAVI and go before someone else does and you go down too. And another person in the comments said, SAVI is the right choice here. Story: I once reported a sexual assault to my shift supervisor. It went up the chain and they were so worried about losing face that they just swept under the rug. More to it, but I'm leaving out details on purpose. It has some similarities to this story though. Go with the person who has a specific duty, knows exactly what to do and will do the right thing. Don't tell anyone you're doing it either. You know that gossip spreads fast and someone will tell this creeper and then he will delete the evidence. And don't do nothing either. He's going to do shit like this again or escalate. What he attempted to do was pretty egregious. And not to preach, but one last thing to remember, OP: honor, courage, commitment. And guys, I'm not sure if honor, courage, commitment is like the official slogan of the army, but it definitely fits this situation. If you were the OP in the story, what would you do? Where would you report the case, or would you report it at all? Let us know. And now we will read the update to the coworker story. So it has been a few days and a lot has happened. As I said in the previous post, I called the SARC and she directed me to get in touch with NCIS. For whatever reason, they never answered their damn on-call duty agent phone that day. I had to go into work and it was really effing difficult working next to the guy that night. I ran through a dozen different ways to tell the right people in my head, but circumstances made me wait. About halfway through our shift, I was able to tell the victim in a private setting. She was obviously very upset, then I immediately went and told our superior officer of our crew. He agreed to take care of it. I finished the shift without seeing the victim, my female coworker, again. I left work and immediately drove to the NCIS office on base. The agent there was awesome. We went through all of the details and I started writing out my statement. While doing so, my officer in charge called me to get details so he could pass it up the chain. I told him that I was already at NCIS and he was pleased. He thanked me for coming forward and ensuring our coworker would be protected. By the time I finished writing my statement, the whole command was aware of the situation. I was pleased. I already knew that the victim was going to get a night off. What I did not know is that the suspect, the host of the party, would no longer be with us anymore as well. The official explanation was trouble with his security clearance. This is speculation, but I think while investigating the camera aspect of this, they found evidence of him using illegal betting services. The government does not take that stuff lightly, especially if you have a security clearance. I think this because the same day he was not at work, they warned the staff that if you use illegal betting services, a bookie, to stop. That's it, he's under investigation and I remained anonymous. My officer knows, but I trust him. I was on the same ship with him for years. He's a great guy. Now hopefully he will never be able to hurt someone like this again. Thanks for the great advice, even though I knew generally what to do in the first place. Sometimes it's just good to get some validation on my thought process. And guys, if you have watched until here, please feel free to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance, all the help is very much appreciated. And once again, another update to the coworker story. It's been quite a while, but we all love updates, so I figured I would close this saga up. Where we last left off, I had informed my female coworker and an officer I trusted, then NCIS. The host of the party was absent from work the next day and I have not seen him since. About 4 months ago, I was contacted by a legal representative working on the case USA versus defendant's name, which finally confirmed to me that it was going to court-martial. He had to ask me questions to see if I was a reliable character witness, questioning if I had ever been arrested, been in legal trouble in the past, etc. He told me that if I did not hear from him in about a month, it means the defendant took a plea deal. Otherwise, I would eventually testify against him in a court-martial. It has obviously been longer than that and I have not heard back from him. He told me I wouldn't be privy to actual details of his punishment, so I don't know if he's actually going to spend time in the brig. I imagine he would not be able to avoid it, but it all depends on his plea deal. The victim eventually finished her time at this command and transferred to a ship. She's married now. A few weeks after the incident, I asked if she wanted to grab a cup of coffee outside of work to discuss what happened and she agreed, and then it fell through. I just wanted to explain to her the difficult time I had, not in deciding whether or not to report, but how. I just had a conversation with a group of people at work earlier today and the defendant came up in conversation. It seems many people at work knew about it because of my original posting, but nobody suspects me. At this point, it would not matter if they found out it was me. I have a clear conscience and I know I did the right thing. My only hesitation at the time was due to a lack of trust in my chain of command. Thanks for all of the good advice and encouragement. Guys, just so I understood that correctly, basically nobody at his workplace knows what he did, aka that he basically helped the woman. However, I don't really understand why nobody is supposed to know about that, because he essentially did the right thing. If you understand the situation better, please let me know in the comments. And the next one is titled, I, male 24, found out my daughter is not mine and I am soon to wed my fiancé, 25, female. About a month ago, an old friend of my fiancé came and told me my daughter might not be mine. She's 1 year old. She told me Sarah, my fiancé, fake name, confessed to her shortly after finding out she was pregnant that it might not be mine because at the time she had been sleeping with one other guy. Now that we are going to get married soon, she just couldn't keep this to herself and felt the need to tell me. Well, I obviously didn't take the news well, because everything she said contradicted the person I knew for 5 years, faithful, honest and loving. However, that doubt didn't go away and I ended up going through with the paternity test. I'm not her father. As you can imagine, this has broken my heart. I'm still coming to terms to the news. It explains why she suddenly got pregnant, despite the protection I was using, but I just assumed things happen and it is what it is. Abortion was out of the question as well. At this point, I'm not sure where to go in life. The wedding is 2 weeks away at this point. Family is coming, everything is paid for. My daughter, who I love, turns out is not mine at all, and I've been raising someone else's kid. I'm about to marry a woman who I cannot bring myself to look at anymore. I am at a loss. I'm not sure what advice Reddit can offer, but I don't know who else to turn to. Edit, thank you all for the advice, good and bad. Different perspectives offer some insight as to what I can do. Even the ones that did not help pointed out what I shouldn't do. All I know is I have loved this woman and her family. The last thing I want is a nuclear option. There's a lot to consider. I have 2 weeks at this point to decide what I want to do. I am heartbroken. I don't want to necessarily think with my emotions alone, rather think this through as I make another of my large life choices. I'm currently waiting on the results of a second paternity test just to confirm the results of the first one before I make any kind of jump. If you still have any additional advice to offer away. I'm still catching up on messages, there's so many and I'm taking my time to reflect on each one. And a user in the comments says, dude, look up sunk cost fallacy. Do what you would do if the wedding was next summer. Dump her. And guys, I'm curious, what would you do in this situation? Would you dump your fiance? Is it really that easy? Let us know in the comments. And now the update to the fiance's story. I'm sure people would like an update and a somewhat of a conclusion to this hurdle in my life, but here is what happened. I read everyone's advice and a lot of it was very helpful. While others not so much, some going as far as to consider murder, yeah, not on the table. But for those that did offer genuine advice, thank you. After getting the same result with the second paternity test, I talked to Sarah and a lot of emotions rolled out. How could an old friend betray me? I was not sure if it was or wasn't yours. I'm sorry. How could you not trust me? She was all over the place. Point, I should have been furious, but somehow that did not happen. I had grown numb to the whole situation. So yeah, I decided I don't want to go through with this marriage and put everything on hold. I plan to eventually cancel everything. I called my parents and explained what was going on. They were shocked. Then her parents, same reaction. I was surprised with how understanding they were to the whole situation. Like I said, they are great people. Their reaction only reinforces this. Luckily, the wedding was within driving distance from all attendees, 8 hours being the longest drive. The amount of fallout was minimal. Apart from my and her parents, no one else knows what's really going on other than the wedding is delayed. Regarding my daughter, I've come to terms that she's not mine and any feelings I have towards her were built on a lie. It is not too late to start over. She's still young, only 1 year old. She won't remember me. As painful as it is, I cannot see my life continuing with her. So, to wrap things up, I've moved out for the time being to have some space. My parents said I could stay with them until I can sort things out. Waiting on the results of an STD test should be coming in tomorrow. I've talked to a lawyer and she said it's a pretty messy situation, but if we can find out who the father is, it could very much help my case. I don't know any of the possible fathers, but her friend instantly knew 2 of the names. As for the third, she was not sure, but knew someone who might. So this is where I am, still not sure where things will go and what will happen, but I can only hope for the best. Life sometimes takes a dump on you, but you don't realize it till one person spills the beans. Thanks Reddit for the help. I wish I could tell you I'm looking forward to a happy ending, but it is too soon to be sure of anything. Additionally guys, I did some investigative digging. And from what I can tell, OP did not marry the woman. However, they found out who the father is, so obviously he does not have to pay any child support or care about the child at all. And the last one is titled, I am being blackmailed by a solicitor. Hey, I'm hoping someone can give me some advice on an issue I am currently experiencing. I'm a web developer. A while ago I worked with a client who is a solicitor. He paid a sum of money up front. Some time into the project I could not attend a meeting with him as my, at the time 2-year-old, fell poorly and was admitted to hospital. He cancelled the project due to this, as he felt I had used my child to defraud him of money. Subsequently, my son was in hospital for 3 months, which caused a huge issue with my financial situation. Anyway, months on, he has since sued me and been awarded a CCJ by default, as we were still in hospital and I did not respond to the claim pack within 14 days. We agreed a monthly payment arrangement, of which there are only 3 payments remaining. However, last month, due to yet another period of time in hospital, I was unable to pay him. I communicated this with him openly and honestly, to which I received the following email. Shock! Still no cash! Here is what I am now doing. Letting your partner and her family, her dad, mom, brother, brother's partner and anyone else I can find know about the real you and how you used your son's illness to defraud me of money. Telling people on social media about what you did and warning them not to do business with you. Contacting every client mentioned on your website to tell them about the above and to warn them about doing further business with you. Contacting the people who have helped with your son's fundraising, charity organizations, fundraisers, donors, etc. Contacting the hospital staff. I haven't got time to do it all in one go, so I reckon I will do about 4 a day. Shame on you that you're making me do this. I don't know how you sleep, Mr. Solicitor. Now I've got nothing to hide. His claims are without merit, but this action would still cause some drama to kick off at a time when I need to focus simply on work and my son. I'm not hiding from my obligations. I have paid 6 of the 9 payments to him to date, which have all been on time. I understand his frustrations. He has paid for some work. For lots of reasons he got someone else to do work. He's got a business to run and a family to feed. But this level of threat and blackmail is not necessary. It concerns me for the impact to my business moving forwards, and also after balance is paid. Is he going to carry this action out anyway? So Reddit friends, what can I do? Get a solicitor to send him a letter? Report this to the SRA? Any thoughts gladly welcomed. Update, he has demanded a payment by 3 PM. I've just had this email, 3 hours and 40 minutes left.
If you make me do this, don't go blaming anyone other than yourself. I'm not sending any more chasers. Regards.
There is a special place in hell reserved for cockwombles like this. Update, thank you all for your advice and kind words. I spoke to a couple of local solicitors who advised the same thing. I have spoken to the SRA, I have to fill in a form and send that to them with all the evidence, which they will acknowledge within 21 days or something. In the meantime, they have advised me that I should inform the police if there are further threats or harassments. They have also advised me that I must stick to the agreed payment arrangement, as I am currently in default of that, despite the Ltd company he claimed against being struck off. They did not seem to understand that part. Either way, I will find a way to get that sorted to him. I will keep you all posted as we go on. And a user in the comments suggested, make a complaint to the SRA about his conduct, remind the solicitor of his obligation to the code of conduct, and that should he
decide to carry out the threats he has kindly provided in writing, you will be taking reciprocal legal action against him.
But of course include that you are frustrated that you have been unable to pay the payment this time, as you may too wish to conclude the matter as fast as possible. And the next one is titled, I'm being blackmailed by a solicitor, update. Hey guys, following my previous post, I took the following action. I reported the individual to the SRA, filled in a complaint form. They say this takes a minimum of 30 days for them to even acknowledge, but frankly, the woman I spoke to on the SRA helpline could not have cared less. I reported the solicitor to the police. They gave me a crime number and told me to keep a log. If there's a threat of physical danger, then to call 999. But that is about as much as I have heard. Mr. Solicitor has contacted so many people, and I have lost a serious number of clients due to the drama, to the point I cannot pay my bills, rent, etc. The missus is going mental. Mr. Solicitor reminds me, like a domestic abuser, that this is all my fault, I caused this, and he has been nothing but decent. Unfortunately, what I seem to have learned here is that the lawyers always win, make your life miserable. Thanks everyone for your advice and kind words. And unfortunately guys, that seems to be the sad reality. Have you ever had problems with lawyers? Let us know in the comments. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/ripestories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow.